So how do you sell the value of your training program, your leadership development program to the highest levels, to the C-suite? That was a question I got from a recent rant I posted on LinkedIn about when all your employees are telling you they're too busy for your training. I said it's really a lie. I was trying to provoke a conversation, and it's really just a way for them to say it's not a priority. And one of the best ways you can make it a priority for them is to make their boss care, and their boss will care if higher ups care. And someone, I forget her name now, in the comments said, well, okay, great, but how do you make the CEO care? How do you make the senior leadership care about your training program? And so I wanted to address that. And in brief, there's the hard way and there's an easy way. Let me talk about the hard way first. So the hard way is by basically trying to persuade, to sell, let's just say the CEO, but it could be some other senior leader. You need to persuade them to care about your program. And so let's talk about what are some great persuasion strategies, selling strategies to make them care. So you have to realize that, so most CEOs at that level, you got to put yourself in their shoes. And this is a big company or mid-market company. They're on 90-day cycles. Every quarter, every 90 days, they're stressing whether they're going to hit the sales number, whether they're going to hit the profit number, the employee headcount, the turnover or growth rates. They have to report. They have a boss. They have to report to the board of directors. God forbid they're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. They are shot every 2 years. Very short lifespan being a big company CEO. So they've got all these pressures around financials and, of course, human capital, talent. And let's just say you get that meeting. And so you go in and you've got some great program, some great leadership development program you want to launch. You want their support because you want everyone to show up and take it. And so you probably go in and you're saying, hey, Ms. CEO, I've got this. I want your support for this great program. It's all about leading with heart. And it's all about heart-based leadership. And this is so important because this day and age, everyone's so stressed out and going crazy that, we need to connect as people. And there's a big movement around supporting the whole person at work. So this helps to, teach our hard-headed managers, our tech engineer managers, to connect with people as people. And you're talking about the features of your program and what it's like and the learning objectives. And it sounds like a great program. And meanwhile, so what the CEO is going to say, she's going to say something like, wow, that sounds great. It's important. Oh, I'm so glad you're doing this work. Absolutely. I support that program. And they might say, like, I'm really busy. I don't keep my own calendar, but yeah, you've got my support. I'll tell everyone this is really important to us. What they're thinking, what they're not saying out loud is, I can't believe that this person we're paying over $100,000 and they're running around talking about heart-based leadership. And they're trying to make our engineers, our salespeople, our busy call center managers spend time on being heart-centered or connecting on emotional level. I'm ready to get fired here. I've got numbers. We've got probably lawsuits coming in. We got all this stuff. And this person's spending time on heart-based leadership. They won't say it out loud. And they know that they're supposed to invest in training, because people want development and you're supposed to grow people, but that's not what they're thinking about. Now, a better way to sell, this is still the hard way, your persuasion strategy. So let's take the same program and it's, hey, Ms. CEO, as you well know, our employee engagement numbers dipped a little bit over the last couple of quarters. It's harder than ever before to get people engaged. We're living in the age of the great resignation or reevaluation. Our turnover numbers have doubled. We used to have great culture and everybody stuck around, 10% annual turnover. Now it's at 20% or 15% or 20% among our software engineers, our prized engineers. Now you're talking about a problem they care about. So you're not talking about your program. You're talking about their problem. And then you say, look, I want your support for a new learning program. It's called Heart-Based Leadership. And hey, before you roll your eyes, let me make sure you know why this is so important. You might not know that in the latest LeadX research, psychological safety is the second biggest driver of employee engagement. Trust is the third biggest driver of employee engagement. Caring. Does my manager care about me as a person? It's the 7th biggest driver of employee engagement. And all this is true, by the way. So this heart-based leadership program is going to enable people to dramatically increase 3 of the top drivers of employee engagement. And by the way, companies like XYZ and ABC, when they've gone through this program, they've achieved, 10% improvement in employee engagement scores in 6 months. They reduced stress among team participants by 22%. So that's why this program's so important, and I want your support. Okay, now you've used some crazy slick persuasion techniques. You attached it to their problem. You're using numbers. So usually C-level people think in numbers, or at least the logical side of their brain needs the numbers to feel like it's a thought through thing. Oh, you've done your homework. There's some data here. You mentioned the case studies. Other companies like ours, maybe even our competitors, have gotten these business results. So now that's the heart movement. That's like, okay, we got the logical part of your brain engaged. Let's get the emotional side, because you're going to move with emotion. And so you've won them over, but there's still the problem of what does it cost? I don't mean money. I mean their time, their attention. And so they might say, okay, fantastic program. This would be great if we can improve engagement through leadership. By the way, 70% of engagement comes from your relationship with your manager. You could throw that at them as well. What do you need from me? Yes, of course. This is amazing. I want everybody to, what do you need from me? And that's when you say, look, I need you to show up at the kickoff and speak for 5 minutes about why this program is so important to you. And then, more important than that, in your weekly staff meetings, I need you to ask your direct reports, hey, have you gone through that program, and have your people gone through that program? And it needs to cascade down. So your ask of them is show up for 5 minutes at the kickoff, but more importantly, set the expectation that you expect all managers to go through this program. And that's when they're going to say, you got it. I can do that for you. So that's the hard way. You've got some program that you need to translate into sort of like harder business results, speaking the C-level language. Now, here's the easy way. You want support for your leadership development programs or your learning and development programs. You go to the CEO and say, hey, what's your number one priority right now? And then make a training program about that. Or another way is, hey, CEO, if you could wave your magic wand, this is a great classic selling questions, wave the magic wand. If you can wave your magic wand and all of a sudden all the managers around here get better at one behavior, what would it be? And then you're silent. You probably won't have to wait long, because they'll say things. They'll say things like, you know what, there's so much change going on. Like, we just need people to be more agile. We need our managers to lead their followers through change. Or they're going to say resilience, crazy busy, hybrid COVID, blah, blah, blah. We need people to be more resilient. Or they're going to say accountability. You know what? Like, I feel like our people aren't holding each other accountable. What happened to our performance standard? It's accountability. They'll tell you what they care about, and then you make training programs that do that. And this is what I thought was great about, you can look at, there's some LinkedIn videos, but also a Forbes article about Leslie Camino's approach, where she does just that. I mean, they talk about Cite strategy activation, their KSA process. It's, hey, C-suite does their strategy retreat at the beginning of the year, and then they cascade what's important to the CEO, what's important to the company strategically through the entire organization. And it's the training department that's doing that. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Hit me with more questions. You can tell I geek out on this stuff. And I just wanted to, this Friday morning, record this and send it your way. Have a great weekend.